when I pull this thing. All you bitches best to know my name. Nobody you hoes, I'm coming from South Park. Catch you at the dark, I'ma spit your fucking chest apart. Follow you. fucking testify. Follow you.
Do ba 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 do boo do a boo ba do boo boo ba do a do ba 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 do boo do a boo ba do boo boo ba do a do.
Hotep, especially when the Hotep got the goddess mask off. He's working his ass off, trying to tell y'all goofy dudes what they planning. It's Hotep, Hotep. Hope you motherfuckers understand. It's Hotep, Hotep. Hope you motherfuckers understand. No threat to a Hotep, especially when the Hotep got the goddess mask off. He's working his ass off, trying to tell y'all goofy dudes what they planning. It's Hotep, Hotep. Hope you motherfuckers understand. It's Hotep, Hotep. Hope you motherfuckers understand.
What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Welcome to the after party. I am CannonHotep. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. If you're new, hit that like, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification icon, and let you know when I got new content coming out. Please share this stream, let people know we live. If you're catching that replay, leave a comment. Let me know how I'm doing. I can use that constructive criticism, guys. Tonight I got a very special guest, A lot of you probably follow him over on TikTok. Let me bring him in now. My man AK, what's going on, AK?
What's cracking, Cannon?
I can't call it, bro. I appreciate you stopping through, man.
Yeah, hey man, I appreciate you having me out, man.
Man, yeah, it's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a fantastic time. Oh man, yo, so I don't know if you saw it. You see the kids that had the costume that was the dressed as Joe Biden in Secret Service, and he kept falling in the street.
That was a good one, man. I mean, they were on that bit. They didn't let up, man. It was like it must have been hours that they just kept on doing it, man.
Yo, it was.
That's commitment. You know, that's commitment, man.
That's very much commitment, bro. I was cracking up, bro. Oh my gosh. I was like, why didn't I think of something like that?
I mean, it'd be a little bit weird if you and I'm 39, if we was dressing up, unless we got a kid, you know, whatever, like nieces, nephews, kids, whatever, that maybe, but there's an age where it's weird if you dress up and you ain't got kids, unless you're at a party.
That's true. That's true. Now, I'm one of those people that I don't like no holidays, y'all. I don't like no holidays. None. Like maybe like Thanksgiving. That's probably about it. Cause my fat ass loves to eat. You know what I mean? And it's like, fellowship with the family and stuff. Other than that, I just feel like everything else is a money grab. Christmas, Mother's Day.
All of it's a money grab. Come on, man.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's like the fellowship with family and friends.
Mm-hmm.
That's dope. But you can do that outside of holidays too.
Yeah. Heather said I like Thanksgiving pie. You goddamn right. And I'm gonna be calling Chris Priest's ass up and make sure I get some of that sweet potato pie his mother be making, boy.
Man. Me and Chris, man, we talked a grip during HotepCon. So everyone kept on saying this man knows how to whip it up.
Yeah.
Get you.
Bro, I was like, he was like, yo, I got a pie. I got some pies my mother made. I just want to drop one off for you to check it out. I was like, I need 4 more of them pies, yo, ASAP. I was like, I need 4 more of them pies ASAP. Salute to Chris Priest, man. I'm gonna hit him up. But yeah, for those of you who don't know, me and AK, we met out at HotepCon, guys. If you missed HotepCon, you be missing out on some real fun. I hope you guys make it next year. Next year is a new destination. Tentatively right now, we doing Miami. That's tentatively right now, we doing Miami. You got to make it out, guys. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. We have man, what we like that first night, right? Was it that Thursday? We were all just sitting in the lobby, just drinking and chopping it up. Chopping
it up, man. Honestly, I'm new to like Hotep Nation world. Like I stumbled across HJ, and then I stumbled across you and Unk, and I was like, I gotta go to this HotepCon because like y'all do an amazing job at marketing, right? Like the grift is real. And so after I watched it so many times, I'm like, I gotta go out and meet these folks, man. And it was a phenomenal time. And to me, right, I'm not used to going multiple times. So I'm like, well, we're gonna do something different. I'm cool with change, man. I go with the flow. But anyone that watches anything in the Hotep Nation sphere, you gotta come out to these events because what you see is what you get. Like as down and as real as everyone seems on the streams, that's how it is in real life.
Definitely. I know we went through like a bottle of my favorite liquor. My favorite rum is this Bumbu that you can see that's empty right now. But we had a bottle of this before the show, and then we went to the store and got another bottle of this and drank that, and then that was gone within like 15 minutes of us buying that bottle. And then shout out to Jason Rose. He sacrificed his Jack Daniels. That was gone immediately as well.
Yeah, no, there were, like I said, man, like every single person I met at HotepCon was cool. Like not a single person I was like, oh, this nigga lame. None of that. Like everyone was cool. Like for real. So come out to anything that you can, any Hotep Nation events.
Exactly, guys. Oh man. So we got a couple of things to talk to. First off, guys, I was cleaning up my office, right? Because it's a mess in here. Right?
Yeah.
And my dad is a fucking knife fanatic. And he just gives out knives, right? So I was gonna go through some of the crazy shit that my father has given me over the years, right? And these are the ones I could find. So the first one is this fucking Expendables fucking knife. I don't know what he was thinking. This shit is fucking crazy. Y'all see this? This is like, so I don't know. It's like a pirate knife or something. I don't know what this is. This is like I'm about to scalp somebody. This is fucking crazy. Okay? Like if this is that Crocodile Dundee, like this is a knife. Like this is a fucking knife, y'all.
Yeah, that's a hell of a knife. At first I thought you were gonna pull like a K-bar or something, but nah, man, that thing looks like it'll be slicing and dicing.
Fucking Michael Myers ain't got shit on this. Jason ain't got shit on this. Which one carries the goddamn knife? Let's see. This one is actually for my kit. This one's actually a good knife. I like this one. So I like the sheath on it. It locks in. This is a nice little knife that goes on my kit. So I got two of these actually. This one of them's on my war belt, and then one's on my this one goes on my plate carrier. I like this knife. So it's successful. I can lock it in. I like that. This is a nice skinning knife. That's a nice little skinning knife.
That looks like when you go fishing, man. You want to just like kind of fillet up your fish after you catch it.
Yeah. This is nice. Or if I get me a deer and I want to get that loin out of there, this is perfect for that. Perfect. What you say? Why V said I need my own COD character.
You ain't lying.
I got swords around this motherfucker, bro. Let's see. This one here, I like this one too. The handle is dope. Like I said, he gives these out to customers. He gives like knives, like when we go do something for like a new customer or something like that we want to have like reoccurring, he gives out knives and shit like this. This one's pretty nice too. You know what I mean? That's
dope.
Yeah, this is like one of them. This feel like one of them ranch hand knives. Like I got this hanging off my belt. You know, I gotta, I don't know, cut a lasso. I don't know what the fuck ranch hands do, but you know, I feel like that's a ranch hand knife right there.
Hey man, sometimes you come across stuff you just gotta cut, you know, so it's perfect for that. You know, it's funny, man. I carry Smith & Wesson M&P Shield, and that's the only firearm that I have. Another firearm, but I let my brother hold on to it. He got his permit to carry here in Minnesota. Okay. But I don't have a knife. And I've been thinking about it, like, I probably should get a knife, you know, because, like, there's all the tests that they do of, like, if someone's, you know, within, like, 10 feet of you, being able to draw and fire is way more difficult. But, yeah, I thought about it, you know. I should probably pick something up just so I have it in case. Yeah, you never know.
A nice Kershaw. I like Kershaw blades. Kershaw blades, that's something, I carry a Kershaw every day. That's my everyday carry knife, is a Kershaw. This is pretty dope. You know what I mean? It's like a semi fucking K-bar or something like this. This got that Vietnam feel. You know what I mean? Got that Vietnam feel. It's got that like Arnold Schwarzenegger Commando / Predator feel to it. You know, I might switch it up and put like an actual handle on it instead of the paracord. But this thing is super fucking sharp. And I love it. I like this knife. Got the serrated edges. Make sure nobody fucking gets away. Like I said, my father's in love with knives. He bought me that fucking mace behind me, or whatever that shit is called, that ball and chain thing.
Yeah.
That shit'll hurt somebody. And then this one right here, this shit is some Vietnam shit. This is some Vietnam shit. I don't even know how to connect this to anything. It clearly can attach in a way, but I don't even know how this shit go. It's got a bayonet lug on it, so I can like put it on my AR. Too bad at Maryland with my AR up here, my full length AR, Maryland, they made them cut the fucking bayonet lugs off to make it compliant at the time, so I can't do that. Oh shit! There we go.
Yeah, you ain't trying to catch a felony, man.
Right, but that shit. Look at that shit. That's a nice ass knife. That's a fucking nice knife. It's got a nice little pattern on it and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, got the serrated edges to make sure that I do maximum damage. It's another really fucking sharp knife. I was just like, damn, why I got so many fucking knives? I said, that's right. My father give out machetes to customers. They be looking at him like he fucking crazy. There be women, homemakers. He give them machetes. I'm like, damn, what that lady gonna do? What's she gonna do with a machete? You know what I mean?
Well, hey, listen, World War III looking like it's just around the corner. You never know. You might get some type of invading force from Canada. Yeah. You might need to get out there in the cut.
This is a nice little knife right here. I like this. This is a nice little get off me knife. You know what I mean? I like that. Oh shit. Dropped it. I don't know these sheaths. I don't know what the fuck. I like that. What's this? I don't like this sheath for this. I need to figure something else out. But it's a nice little get off me knife right here. I like this. I'm serious. I got some shit. I got to finish cleaning up in here. Oh my god. I'm serious. This shit is crazy.
Nah, man, listen. You ready to go to war if someone comes kicking through the front door of Cannon?
Oh yeah. Look, I'm not trying to shoot nobody. Gosh dang it. But if I got to, I got to. Shit. You know what I mean? I got to. Period. Full stop. But all I know is my father's a crazy man. I went to the chiropractor today, and they know me and my dad. So he's like, "Yo, your dad was in here a couple weeks ago. Where your father from?" I'm like, He from Cherry Hill. He's like, why your father coming here like he a bounty hunter? He scared the shit out of all my patients. He had on he said he had on Red Wing boots with 2 knives in each boot, knee pads and 5'11" pants with his cowboy hat and and he carry a shield too. Smith & Wesson shield just out. I was like, yo, my father, he a character, yo. He swear he fucking Bash Reeves out here. You know what I mean? I was like, this dude swear he Bash Reeves out here. You can't tell my father he ain't one of the baddest men on the goddamn planet. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope, man.
Now he doing jiu-jitsu. He doing jiu-jitsu now, and he been winning. He won every match he got. He winning like he beating upper belts and stuff like that. And now he like, oh yeah, I gotta sign up for another one. You know, I'm happy for him because he has an autoimmune issue with his lungs and stuff like that. They was counting him out a year ago. You know what I mean? And he's still kicking. He's still doing his thing. He's still out here giving people help. So, you know,
bless, man. Yeah, man. Make the most of it, bro.
Exactly. You know? Yeah. Shout out to my dad.
Get this one. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I got my brother. He out there in West Virginia. I got to go see his game this Saturday. He been busting ass show. So they move him to defensive end, right? They move him to defensive end, and he don't like it. But I think he had a sack every game this season. He's had a sack every game this season. Yeah, sack every game this season, and what else? And he had 1 defensive touchdown. He's been on it, yo. He's been killing the game. And I told him, I said, yo, keep doing your thing. I said, one of these leagues gonna pick you up, goddamn it. You know what I mean? It's enough. We got the XFL, we got the USFL, we got the NFL, you know. It's like, you know, shit, laundry football league out here. My son's like, nah, he ain't gonna play no laundry football.
Throw a wig out, man.
Yeah, he still got 1 more year eligibility left too. So so I'm going to go see him play. He said he's what is he? He's the team captain this week. So
that's dope, man. Nah, man. Like I grew up playing football. I've always been somewhat athletic. My problem was I didn't have any discipline for it. Mm-hmm. I was more interested. Like I play bass guitar, right? So I was like, I'm just gonna go join a band, do that thing. And you know, I never put any focus into it, but I was good. I was a left guard, and then I played a little bit of defensive tackle, and would play 2 ways, but I never put any time or energy. But if you got that skill set, man, you might as well see what you can get out of it. But getting his education, that's a good route to go, bro.
Yeah, he lazy though. He lazy. He a lazy son of a bitch. So he's in like broadcasting journalism and shit like that. So he got he got a radio show on some radio station out in West Virginia, and he does some shit for school. But the thing is, the shit that he do for school, he send to me to do for him, because he don't know what he doing. So he'll send me some shitty audio that he done recorded on his iPhone, and then I got to sit here and clean it up and edit it, and I got to chop 10 minutes of bullshit down to like 3 minutes. And he gets an award and all this other shit. Dean's list. I said, half that shit mine, nigga.
Yeah, hey, listen, that's your little bro, man. You gotta take care. I'm the oldest too, so I got 2 younger brothers, and they're twins actually. And the one twin, he's the one that's like go-getter. Like he's been on his money ever since he was like 17. I grew up super poor, right? But he's always been stacking his bread. He's got his credit good. He's always got a new whip. The man's a hard worker. His twin, my other brother, he's like this like free spirit, man. He's just like, he's smart, but he just doesn't have that same type of drive. So it's a trip. So like, I'm always like, my younger brothers call me all the time for stuff like, hey, I'm going to do this, or what are your thoughts on this? So I understand what that's like, man. You gotta kick your little brothers in the ass, man.
Yeah. So especially cause he the youngest, he the spoiled one. He the one that had an American Express card from when he was 9 years old. No, I'm serious, yo. It was like, I was talking about it to my son today. My son had the audacity to ask me. He said, Dad, I don't like the school lunch. Can I take lunch to school? And I said, sure, not a problem. We can definitely do that, right? I said, what you want to take for lunch? Chick-fil-A. I said, What do you think this is, sir? What do you think this is? How much do you think we make? And who you think bringing you Chick-fil-A at 11 o'clock or whenever y'all eat lunch? And I said, you know what? You sound like your Uncle Kevin. My grandmother, you know, God rest her soul, would take my brother lunch every day. Every day he would text my grandmother. This is in elementary school.
Wow.
Right, because he didn't want to eat school lunch. And every day at the same time, my grandmother would show up with like Royal Farms chicken or McDonald's or Chipotle, tropical fruits, whatever he asked for, he got.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just like, you know what? And my father called him Richie Rich, and then they try to call me the original Richie Rich. I'm like, get out of here. I work for all my shit. I was like, the shit that y'all let him get away with, I would have never got away with. Ever got away with.
Yeah.
You know, love my brothers and sister to death, man.
Yeah.
So I want him, hopefully he do great things. I told him don't get no girls knocked up. He did a good job of not getting no girls knocked up. He in his senior year, and he got one more year of eligibility left. So salute to him. I'm gonna put a little montage together for him one day, and I'll probably play it for y'all on here. But he been wrecking shop up there at Shepherd University.
That's dope, man.
Yeah,
that's dope.
Yeah, he pain in the ass though. But you know, what little brother ain't a pain in the ass? Let's see where we at. Let's get rid of this. Okay, that's fine. Let me see. Oh, where is it? Bear with me for 1 second. Sorry.
Nah, you're good, bro.
Oh man, where's it go? Let's do this. Here it is.
First down and 10 from the 35.
Make sure you can see this. Boom. There we go.
First down and 10 from the 35-yard line.
Sure
A little bit of trickery
Goddamn.
from the Huskies. Reese trying to escape the pocket, and he is brought down in the backfield, sacked for a loss. Kevin Cow. First down and 10 from the 35-yard line. A little bit of trickery from the Huskies. Reese trying to escape the pocket, and he is brought down in the backfield, sacked for a loss. Kevin Cowser off
So he
the
was
edge.
he was a
just
middle
enough.
linebacker
First down and
beforehand.
10 from the 35-yard line. A little bit of
He was a middle linebacker for the first 3 years of school, and then they moved him to defensive end. Like I told his ass to go to when he first started playing football. I told his ass when he first started playing football to be a defensive end. I told him that's where he was gonna get all his money at.
Yeah.
Now his ass ain't got no choice because his coaches made him go play defensive end, and he been wrecking shop at DN. He been wrecking shop
man,
at DN.
you got to be quick. If you're quick and powerful, DN's where it's at, man.
Yeah, I keep telling him. But he you know how they are, hard-headed. Hard-headed. I'm trying to see if it was one more, but let's do this. My dog is going crazy upstairs. I have no clue why.
My wife, she opened up the garage, right? This is like my garage, right? It's like where I make my TikToks and all that. And my dog was running all around. I was trying to be like, come on, get out of here. He finally left. So.
Here it is. This one here.
Rams showing some pressure.
All right, and then show here.
pressure. We'll see if they come. They don't. They drop back, but they get under pressure in the back. Nathan Muley came on the sack. Ball came out. Kevin Kauser falls on it in the end zone for the touchdown. Shepard. The Rams get the sack from Muley.
And they got 3 rings.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they got 3 rings.
Is it a D2 school?
Yeah, it's Division 2. Division 2 school. Yeah. And I think this is the last one I'm going to show right here. You know, I'm a proud brother over here. You know.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Years of me kicking him in the ass. Is this it right here? No, that's not the right one. No, that was last year. That's when he first started playing the position.
You get to go to a lot of his games or what?
Last year I did. I went to a lot of his games last year actually. Yeah, I went to a lot of his games last year, but this year I haven't made it to one yet. So this will be the first game I go to. So he hit me up earlier today. Was like, "Hey, I'm playing. Well, I'm not playing, but I'm the captain. So I don't know if it's senior day or what. But oh, hold on, I can move shit. How does this work? This thing all over the place. I had everything saved here, but it's all good. Oh man, but yeah, I told him I'm gonna make him a little montage or whatever, because he's been like, I mean, just he been on his game. Let me see. I think it was this one here. Let me see. What happened to the music? Oh shoot. Anyway, when I make the montage, I'll let you guys see it. So, what's the first topic for the night? We need the Hotep games. Man, the Griff games. That'd be something dope. Get all the best grifters.
Or like it'd be America's whatever, like American Hotep. Gauntlets.
Yeah, we could do that. Or like what was like celebrity the celebrity baseball game or celebrity football game or basketball game. That'd be kind of dope. We could do that.
Yeah. So it's funny because I'm still relatively athletic, even though I'm a big fat fucker. I can still do a front handspring, like to this day.
Oh, wow.
I did one like 2 months ago and I didn't film it. And I was like, I should do it again. I'm like, yeah, but I'm getting old, man. And my back was kind of sore after I did it. I'm like, I don't want to tear something, bro, because that's exactly what would happen. Like I do it again on camera. Cause I'm like, I could get some viral hits. Like I straight up can do a front handspring still, man.
Bro, back in the day, like I remember I learned how to do backflips, right? I learned how to do backflips on mattresses back in the day. Like out in the street, do backflip on a mattress. Then after school, me and my friends, we all out this bitch. Like we in the Olympics. We get our running start, somersault into a back handspring, into a back somersault, into a front. I don't know. It was just a lot of shit.
Yeah, it's like you do like a floor routine.
Yeah, exactly what we did. We did a whole goddamn floor routine. The shit was hilarious. And then I got fat, and then it was just a wrap for that. Like I don't know if I could do a backflip to save my life right now. Front handspring, maybe. I used to do a front somersault. Can't do that shit no more. Like I used to kill him. I used to hit him with the front somersault first into the regular somersault. Into a cartwheel, into the back handspring, into the back somersault. I used to kill it back in the day, but that shit ain't happening now. I'll tell you that much.
Honestly, you'd be surprised how quick it comes back when you do it. But like I said, we're older, so our body ain't used to all that strenuous popping and explosive muscular, reactions. You're gonna tear something, dog.
Bruh, my hamstrings ain't built for it no more. Yeah. My hamstrings ain't got it no more. I'm gonna tell you that much. I wanted to do gymnastics. My father said no because it was for girls.
I mean,
he did seriously.
I've seen some dudes out there that are in gymnastics or whatever at the college level. Mm-hmm. Like University of Minnesota had a men's gymnastic team, and then I think they cut it. But like one of the dudes I think went and was on the men's Olympic team, but like
and dumb. They be
it's not strong. The most masculine. Like those dudes they're very strong, but I think it's more geared towards the effeminate. And there's probably some like male gymnastic that's like, how dare you? And it's like, hey, bro, I know that the reason that you originally joined is because you want to be around some bad bitches. Like, let's be real.
Come on, yo. Come on. I forgot. I think it was like the 96 Olympics. That's when I wanted to do it. And that's when I learned how to do flips and shit. Like I went outside and started learning all that stuff. And I'm like, no, that's a girl sport. You a football player. I was so mad, yo. And but then he would turn around and make me do all these flips. So like, yeah, my son, he can do all that stuff. Go show him that flip you showed me the other day. I'm like, you just told me that shit for girls. Now you want me to show off. God damn. Which one is it? Shit. So I found the last one right here. So then we're gonna get into these topics. Some people they be like, they want to hear the doom and gloom all day. All day. You want to hear the doom and gloom. Let me see. Here we go. Boom. There we go. I'll bring y'all in. So this was, I think, 2 weeks ago. So his ass a character.
Able to give him a nice head fake, jab step to the inside, and able to get outside and pick up that fourth down conversion.
Pressure again coming from Shepard, and the Rams get the sack.
It's Kowser with the
Kevin
big play.
Kowser adding to what has already been a big day for the Rams, and the helmet coming.
Like I said, he's 6'1", 260. So he's 6'1", 260. Like, he thinks he's undersized for being a defensive end. Yeah, but I told him, I said, you can always go strong safety, outside linebacker. I said, but, being a DN, you know what I mean? Just use your speed. You know what I mean? If you beat them off the line, you good. When I played, because I was a running back in the defensive end, I used to smoke them offensive linemen because I was so fast off the line. The minute that ball moved, I was out, and they had a hard time keeping with me. You know what I mean? I said, and it's an easy position. It's like contain and attack. That's all you got to do. Cover the flats. That's it. Yeah. You know what I mean? I said, speed is everything. You don't got to be. I was like, Javon Curse wasn't the biggest defensive end.
True that. I mean?
And y'all better leave me alone with this shit. Aaron Donald playing. He's my size.
He's a big boy, man.
You know what I mean? He's my size. He's 6'1". He's 6'1". I think he like 275 or something like that. You know what I mean? I said he fast and he vicious. I was like,
Now in Minnesota we got Danielle Hunter. Yeah. And that man, holy man. I met that dude, shook his hand, and did one of those like. You shake his hand and then you like tap their side, like the arm. And I was like, that's a solid man, Pop.
Made of granite.
For real. I'm like, how the cats get hit by this dude? Dang.
Bruh.
That's crazy.
But anyway, let's get into these topics, y'all. So I covered this yesterday. I wanted to get your opinion on it. So we sending 300 more troops over to Israel. This is on top of the other 900 that said it was deploying last week. This is on top of the 2,000 Marines that we deployed week for that. That's over there on the battleships. Not to mention the other forces that we have already on the ground in the Middle East. I think they said we got 13,000 in Kuwait by itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My question to you is: are we in this thing, or are we still a deterrent, like they're pretending us, or what I feel as though they're pretending to be?
Yeah, so I mean, this is the funny thing about war, is that on paper there's kind of these, if you want to say gentleman's rules, which is absurd because people are literally dying every day, but there still is like a certain amount of like, we're gonna do this, but this is not overt. Like for instance, Yemen and the Houthis have been firing missiles at American bases. So like you would say that if you are starting to fire rockets at another country's military bases, those are declarations of war, right. But we haven't responded in what you would consider like an actual full-scale war. Like we have hit back at them. So it's kind of like this tit for tat. But in regards to the troops that we have stationed around, it came to light that we basically have a base in southern Israel. Mm-hmm. Like the U.S. has a secret base that's no longer secret. And there's been conversations about whether or not the United States, along with other nations, are going to have a peacekeeping mission in Gaza after their operation is done. What that actually means is that like we are going to, for lack of a better term, occupy Gaza. So basically Hamas can't come back in once Israel finishes its operations. Okay. So I think unless another player like directly jumps in, right? Like if Iran, if there's actually missiles being launched from Tehran, different story. We're going to go on the ground, because at that point, the IRGC would actually send ground troops in. Or again, if Hezbollah specifically was firing into Gaza to take out military operations, different story. But unless that happens, which I don't think it will, but you never know. Yeah. I think we will, provide support. Our commandos are going to go in, try and rescue hostages. And that's what we're going to do right now. So it's this weird game where on paper, it's like, okay, you guys have definitely scaled up. There's actual physical boots on the ground of American troops, but we're not technically in the fight because we're not going through and clearing and sweeping houses. Now, at that point, then yes, we are full scale all the way in. And there's no coming back from that, in my opinion, until you achieve victory or you do like a 20-year thing like what happened in Afghanistan, which I hope doesn't happen. But that's my long answer, man. I don't think that it's as dire as it would seem. But that's assuming that everything stays exactly as it is right now. But tomorrow something could escalate and push us into a much more dangerous situation.
Emmanuel Presley says, I feel like they could hold Gaza with Cannon and his family. My father might be able to hold Gaza by himself.
No doubt.
But yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I'm looking at us, incrementally just upping our personnel over there, and I'm just like, man, we got our toes just splashing around in that water. And I'm like, all it's going to take is one of them rockets to not get intercepted and to hit one of our bases and to take out a few Marines or special forces guys or whatever, and boom, we in it. You know what I mean? I feel like almost, and I hope it's not inevitable. Like I feel like it's inevitable that happens, but I hope it doesn't, like you said, because I don't want another forever war. And I feel like this situation, this war between Israel and the Palestinians and the Arabs, it's not going to end until one of them has, control of Gaza completely. You know what I mean? It's like, and Bibi Netanyahu said, he said he's not ceasefiring shit. He said we're going to wipe them out, and then the other side is like, bring it. You know what I mean? And it just seemed like, yeah, this is a death match. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, well, let me. This is the thing that's probably most annoying to me. Google is free, and I get that people are busy and like it's the last thing that people want to do. But just for fun, I want people to go and look up how many Japanese non-combatants died when the United States responded to Pearl Harbor, and tell me how many hundreds of thousands of Japanese did we kill outside of the atomic bombs. Now, the atomic bombs, I was going to mention that. Yeah. I mean, they wiped out like somewhere between 150 to 100 and like 150 to like 250,000. Like those are the estimates. Mm-hmm. But they also believe that about half a million non-combatant civilians died while we were going and messing things up. To just give you this perspective, right? People say, well, what's the end of this going to look like? Pearl Harbor, happened. And yes, there was a lot of American lives lost, but there was a lot of military lives lost, right? Like that was a military action. And we went into Japan and all throughout the South Pacific, and there was a lot of collateral damage. And then we dropped two nukes on them. Yeah. And today, tell me, does Japan hate America?
No. They are partners with America. So there is an end result in which if Israel, and this is unfortunate, actually complete their mission of wiping out Hamas, you could potentially see that 30, 40 years from now that it's like the United States. But there are a bunch of other Arabs, and it's completely different dynamics. But the idea that there's no way to actually win is absurd. And that, you know, again, the loss of civilian life, like it's just too much right now. Again, between 500,000 and then some people put the estimates at over 1 million civilians were killed. And then when you look at the total percentage, it was like close to 2 million Japanese people died during the entire conflict of World War. That's like 3% of their population. Damn. So this is the nature of war. And I just think that because you and I and most people alive today, you know, the last World War II veteran died like a few years ago, don't understand how terrible war is. But you can still achieve a mission objective that ends up with the people that were attacking you no longer have the ability to fight you. Now, I don't know if that's what like truly Israel's end goal is, but it has happened plenty of times in history, and it's brutal and it sucks. And I wish that Hamas would have just not went and did what they did, because Israel seems like they're not playing. And I don't see a situation that a ceasefire happens unless America says we're not going to support you anymore, which is very, very unlikely to happen.
Yeah, Fuego said like the Doolittle raid. Yeah, I would equate the Doolittle raid or Doolittle's raid to what AK's talking about. That was what April of 1942 or something like that.
Yeah.
I would say that. Emmanuel Presley, he says the U.S. wasn't surrounded by Japanese. I guess the argument would be, you know, the carpet bombing was because of Pearl Harbor. Am I right?
Yeah, and that's why I said, like, it's not a 1-for-1. I know that they share the same border and all that different stuff, but I'm saying that there's this idea that somehow Israel's only going to create future terrorists. Yeah. You would assume that we would have created future terrorists in Japan when they were literally suicide kamikazing, right? Like, they were kamikazing all over throughout the South Pacific Theater. Like, we would go into combat against Japanese Imperial, and they would literally try and kill themselves along with as many people as possible. But yet here we are today. And that's all I'm saying, is that there is a historical precedent that you can go real hard and kill a lot of non-enemy combatants, not intentionally, because I think that there's a difference. Like, if you're like, I'm going to just try and wipe out as many humans as I can, you're like, I need to achieve a military objective. And because my enemy refuses to separate themselves from the civilian population, we'll try and minimize it, but we are going to take out the enemy. And that's the truth. Like, if all of Hamas decided we're going to stop hiding in tunnels and underneath, and they wanted to go head to head, they'd be wiped out within weeks. Like, if they just said we're evacuating all civilians and we're just going to take it to them, but they know that they would lose. So they're more willing to sacrifice civilian lives than to actually, you know, try and go hard, because they know they'll lose. And that's just the reality of the way that this war is set up. I don't like it. I think it's terrible. I wish there wasn't war, but at the same time, what are you supposed to do? Just ceasefire and then go back to doing what you're doing and just sitting and waiting and just continue for like another 100 years. So this is where I think that Israel's at, is that they're going to try and achieve their mission objective. And I know people are like, well, the rest of the Arab world is going to jump in. Listen, there's 46 Muslim countries in the world. And at one point, they want to be able to support their other Arab and Muslim brethren. But the moment that, you know, if it escalates to that point where Iran jumps in and Israel starts responding with tactical nukes, I think that the idea that everyone just starts dropping nukes on each other is absurd. That's not going to ever happen. Right. But people will back away and say, oh, okay, I guess they're super serious. So that's why I think that there's multiple potential outcomes. But if the rest of the Arab world tries to come into the aid of Palestine, the Palestinian people, I think that Israel will respond with even more disproportionate force that will push them back. And, you know, that's what I see the most likely scenario happen. I just hope it happens faster and that less non-combatants and civilians die, because that sucks.
Yeah, I think this is biblical in my opinion. This is a fight, like I said before, this fight has been long brewing for a very, very long time. And I think that it had to come to a head soon. You know what I mean? This ain't the first
Sure.
time that they had conflict over Gaza Strip. You know what I mean? This one I see like this is a war of attrition now. You know what I mean? They're in for the long haul with this one, I believe. You know, now I have my reservations about the way everything initially went down. You know, with my full kufi on tight. You know, like it just. The initial raid just didn't make sense to me. Like I can't see Israel's defenses being that vulnerable to like such a rudimentary attack. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It almost feels like they let that go down so they could justify seizing the Gaza Strip. You know what I mean? Like that's how I looked at it. And they can do that. I think they are technologically advanced. I think the military is sound enough to where they can go in there and take the Gaza Strip. But at the same time, I think not only Hamas, but you got Hezbollah, you got and the other Arab nations that's been saber rattling as of recently, ready to jump in it too. I think, like I said, I think they want to take the Gaza Strip for Palestine and the rest of the Arab nation or on behalf of the Arab nation as well. So I think they're in for the long haul. I see another faction jumping in there with this thing, and I think if another faction jumps in, like I heard Turkey's president was kind of warning America too a little bit the other day. And Turkey's NATO, right?
Turkey is NATO, and this is the other interesting wrinkle to this, right? Is that everything that I've put out there is assuming that it remains a regional conflict. So even if Lebanon and Jordan doesn't seem like they're at all interested, but again, you have like the Iranian-backed militias that are doing stuff that I think Israel can continue to handle, especially with the United States support. But if a China or a Russia or a Turkey, if Turkey said we're out of NATO and we're going to do this. That completely turns the tide. But I just think that's again far less likely to happen given what the consequences are. Because like, for what purpose? For Palestinians, the people that none of you damn Arab nations want to take. Like, no one wants to take these people, and that it sucks, man. Like I feel for the people. Now, I personally, I've learned and I've studied a lot about Israel and Palestine. I'm going to give full disclosure, and I actually said this on the Griff Report. So I actually went to Israel with AIPAC back in 2010 for 2 weeks, and I went there on their Campus Allies mission. And it's basically they take whatever, like 50 student leaders from across the country, and then they try and just really, like, again, full disclosure, like they're trying to propagandize you to supporting the cause. Mm-hmm. Now, I grew up, right, in a household that was both practiced Islam. My father was Muslim and my mother was Christian. And my parents said you could be whatever you want. And I chose Christianity. But my dad loved Arafat, like for real. Like he dressed me up as Yasser Arafat when I was 10 or 11 years old for an orchestra concert. And so I come to this with a very like critical view. I'm not just feeding everything, but again, the reason I explain all that is because I've went to a bunch of AIPAC policy conferences to try and get a better understanding. But I also, I know a ton of Arabs of like a million different countries all over the Middle East, and I've talked with people and had serious conversation. But I keep coming back to this point that when we're looking at the conflict in the area, like the Arab world, the Muslim world, they support fellow Muslims to a point. But again, like think about Afghanistan and Iraq, right? Yeah. Like, yes, there were skirmishes from other nations, but no one went all in to help protect the Iraqis or, help protect the Afghanis. Like they talked a bunch of trash and they might have took some pot shots at us here and there, but they didn't go all in. Same with Palestine. No one's going to go all in with them. The only thing that I could see is that some of these other nations feel like the United States is weak. And so then they just make their move. Like, China's like, we're going to take Taiwan. Then that's a problem because now we're going to be having a much larger issue. But I don't know. Yeah. And that to me, that's the flipping point. It's not necessarily about how Israel continues to respond to, in Gaza to Hamas. It's more or less about, are other nations going to decide to make their military moves because the United States is stretched thin or whatever. But that's what I see as the biggest potential to pull us into World War III.
Yeah. Are they going to make that their hill to die on, essentially?
Yeah. I did want to say, too, like, to your Kufi take about Israel, like, you are correct that, like, their technology, like, because they're such a small nation and they have a relatively small population compared to all those that want to kill them, their security and their technology is out of control. But here's the thing is that the technology that was used by Hamas is, like, not technologically advanced. Right. So this is the thing is, like, when you have a high level of technology, like old school, just running into stuff with with vehicles still works out pretty well. Like the Iron Dome is good at, knocking down missiles. It's not great at, like, targeting individual humans and taking them out. That's not what they have made it for, because they would kill a lot of civilians. Like, actual Israelis would be killed by it, because how do you differentiate between who's an enemy combatant? You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, again, like rudimentary, low level. It's just that they were not prepared for this level of attack. And so to me, it's possible, right? This could be Bibi Netanyahu got, other nations were saying, be watchful, something's being planned, but they might've been saying that for years. And Mossad might've said, hey, we have a bunch of information, but we don't know exactly when and where. And it could have just caught them flat-footed. Or maybe Bibi just is like, I want to use this to finally crush Hamas and take back Gaza. That's possible. I just think that it's less likely.
I guess we'll see at the end if Israel's successful in their, in this conflict. I'm wondering if they'll give that back to the Palestinians. I guess we'll see. Jabari.
Yeah, it's highly unlikely.
Right, exactly.
Give it back. Unless there's like specific safeguards that they're not going to allow like some jihadists back into power.
Right, there's going to be some parameters, some IDs and some more shit that's going to come into play if you want to come back into the Gaza Strip. You got to abide by all rules or you're homeless. But Jabari Judah says most Muslim countries are divided on tribal recognition, not ethnicity. That's true.
That's right.
That is true.
That's
right.
That's
true.
That's most humans. Like, this is a little bit of a side tangent, but people always will glorify the indigenous people. So I grew up, like, I'm this weird thing, right? Like, I grew up in this like split religious household. My mother is white. She's like Irish, Scottish, Pennsylvanian, Dutch. My father's from West Africa, Sierra Leone. And I also grew up like 10 miles away from a Native American reservation. So like growing up, like, I don't know, maybe like 30% of my friends were Native. And so when people put this idea that like, before the Europeans came and colonized, like, the people here were just living like in peace or something, like, nah, man, like these people go hard. And even to this day, okay, in Minnesota, there is a tribe that has the spirit Mystic Lake Casino, and like on average, their tribal members, because there's only like 2,000 of them, the lowest paid one gets like 15 grand a month. The highest paid is like almost $1 million. Tell me, do you think they give a bunch of that money to the other tribes around Minnesota? They do not. And so this is what's so crazy is that they don't view the other indigenous people as their true brothers. Like on paper, they'll be like, yeah, us indigenous folks stand together. But they're like, nah, man, like this is our tribe. Y'all your own tribe. So like, if you want to get this goo-wop, too bad. You ain't in the tribe. So that's to what Jabari is saying. Like, that's just the truth of humanity, man. Like, you're cool with someone to a point, but like when it gets down to the nitty gritty, you're like, nah, who are you, man?
Like, yeah, like, look, I get Hamas is our cousins, but we don't fuck with them like that. You know what I mean? We don't fuck with them like that. Like, they are cousins and shit, but like, no, they be doing their own thing. We ain't, I get what you're saying. I get what Jabari's saying. But yeah, I guess we'll see how everything's going to play out. I think that I said this earlier too, that the more we put our feet into the we start putting a foothold into this conflict, the more vulnerable we are here to some kind of domestic attack, especially with that border being wide open the way it is. You know what I mean? They got people marching up right now. Apparently the United States mayors and governors had a meeting because of what's coming across that border. They got They got a fucking caravan on the way now. And who knows what's in that caravan? You know what I mean? Like, they need to get a foothold on all, like, instead of sending those 300 troops over to the Middle East, we needed to put them on the border to help the Border Patrol secure that border. You know, we need the Army Corps engineers down there on that southern border, you know, finishing that fucking wall or something. You know what I mean? Because we don't know who's coming across. We can't vet them. You know, who's to say that a bunch of, I don't know, crazy cells haven't crossed that border now that's just waiting for some orders. You know what I mean?
No. So the other day, Anthony Mayorkas, I think his name's Anthony, whatever, Mayorkas, the Homeland Security Director, during a congressional hearing, when asked, how many gotaways can you guys report on this year? He said 600,000 just in the year 2023. 600,000 people got away, meaning we have no idea who these people are. So that's just in 2023. There's an organization that tracks this, and they've estimated that since Biden took office, there's been 2 million gotaways. And there's been 8 million people that have actually had contact once they crossed the border. So we're talking about 10 million people that have came across the border. And of that 8 million, you know, a bunch of them we've sent into the United States on asylum, and they're missing their court dates, and then they're just kind of off in the wind. Sure, we're sending some people back. We actually still do that with certain people. But by and large, we know we have 2 million that they're somewhere in the United States. We have no idea where they're at, who they are, what they're about. And then we have probably an estimated 4 million that are somewhere on asylum in the United States. So we're talking about 6 million human beings that have came across this border just since Joe Biden was sworn into office. And we don't know who a lot of these people are, man. And to your point, that's scary, man.
It is,
you know, like
not to
you
mention
say all the time, man, stay low, be strapped, like don't miss, like straight up, bro.
Like you got Abbott and DeSantis and them, then they busting them all over the United States right now. So we don't know who's where and what's the hell's going on. They gonna fucking get a phone call. They're gonna be like freight car Niner, and then some shit gonna go down. You know what I mean? I don't know. I got like I said, yeah, get low, stay strapped, don't miss, goddammit. Because I mean, it's a potential for it to happen right now. You know, it's a lot of chaos coming, and we know that that's how they get their orders, through chaos. You know what I mean? But the way that border is right now, and the funny part is that the border situation has been overshadowed by so much propaganda that's been in the news, so many other news stories, that people haven't really been paying attention to the border and how important it is to lock that shit down. And I think now they're really starting to understand it, and I think it might be, I ain't gonna say it's too late, but they got a lot of damage control to do, and especially if the wrong elements have been coming through that border in the last 4 years. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's wild. So like I'm in Minnesota, right? Minnesota's on the border of Canada. Okay, we are very far north, and in my main income is I'm an independent courier, and so I get different contracts to run around different products. A lot of times it's like auto parts, brake pads, rotors, stuff like that. And I drive through Minneapolis, sometimes North Minneapolis, sometimes South Minneapolis off of Lake Street, which is kind of like the main area. And I've noticed over the last couple of months, I've started to notice little pockets on certain corners and intersections of a lot of men that look like they are not from the United States. They are somewhere south of the Rio Grande. And the other day, I saw this tent set up, and they were playing like loud, whatever, like Latino music that was not in English. And they had like sandwich board thing up, and it was like sign up EBT or something like that. Because in Minnesota, we passed a handful of bills. One of them, we are allowing illegal immigrants to get free college. So we passed that bill last year because we're controlled by the Democrats. They control all three branches of government. We also are allowing them to get IDs. If you come and you say, I want an ID and I do not have paperwork to prove that I'm an American citizen, Minnesota will give you not only an ID, but we'll also give you a driver's license. And then we also started to enroll, again, non-citizens on our actual state Medicaid program. So this is happening in other states as well. So there's more of an incentive. So you're going to see these people start to flock and congregate to states like Minnesota, even though we're super far north, with a bunch of illegals. And like you said, I don't know how this resolves, but it's going to make a pretty hard argument to not, approve amnesty. And that's what I guarantee the next play is going to be, is that once they finally decide they're going to start to address this issue, they're going to say something crazy like this. It's going to be like, there's a total of 60 million undocumented people in America, and we need to give them full rights. So they should be able to vote. We should give them citizenship. I'm promising you that number is going to be astronomical. You're going to be like, how many people are here? And they're going to say, well, what else are you going to say? Round up 60 million people? We don't have the manpower. You know how much money that's going to cost. So instead, you step out of the shadows and we're going to make you full American citizens. Just watch it, man. That's my Kofi take. That's why they're letting this happen, bro.
That's what I think. I think that I agree. Me and Jay made that prediction a while back. I also think that if we do spark a war, they're gonna be like, you want to be citizens? You want to become citizens? Okay. Well, guess what? You need to join our army. You join our army, you get citizenship. You know what I mean? On top of what you just said.
You're gonna be the fodder, bro.
Right. You know what I mean? So, but Montoya says, how do you feel about Royce White running for office?
So I actually have had a couple of interactions with Royce.
Okay.
I'm heavily involved in politics in Minnesota, and he actually came on a podcast. So there was a dude that had a podcast called Black Republican, Black Democrat,
okay,
and he tapped me to be the Black Republican, and he was already like 3-4 years into it, and I basically started asking a bunch of Republicans to come on, and Royce came on. And man, like my Democrat co-host, he's like a 5'6", he's like just, dyed in the wool, drinks the blue Kool-Aid, like, Joe Biden's the greatest, he does nothing wrong, all this different stuff, right? And when Royce came on, Royce was talking about, ending the Fed and understanding like what's actually going on with the Federal Reserve and how it's enslaving people. And my co-host just kept on going at him. And at the end of the show, like they were just yelling at each other. It was the most like weird thing where I'm sitting in the middle. I can't even there's nothing that I can do. Royce is to the right of me. My co-host is to the left of me, Jamar. And I'm just like, y'all just go at it. And at the end, as we were walking out, like they were still chirping back and forth. And I'm like, is this dude, like my co-host, is he going to try and swing on Royce? Because Royce is like a foot taller than him. and like for real, like Royce is like 6'8", man.
Golly mighty.
And they turned and they were looking at each other and I was in between and I'm like, if he swings, what am I going to do? Like, do I protect my co-host? He's my co-host, but it's not like we're like homies.
Right.
Or do I just like step back and just let it happen? And I was like, oh, but it was cool because Royce, he de-escalated it and he just walked out or whatever. But it was spicy, man. So to what my feelings about Royce are, if Royce was willing to take some guidance from someone that understands the political system like myself, I think I could help him easily figure out what it is that he wants to do to be able to get the support that he needs. It's just that Royce, when it comes to understanding the political machine, A, he's not interested in playing the game, and B, he doesn't know the game. And so the people that he in the past has surrounded himself with, they're activists. They don't understand actually how the political apparatus works. And so when Royce ran to get the endorsement from the Republicans, he lost to a woman named Cece, and she's awesome. I love Cece. But Royce, just by his name recognition and his presence, should have easily won that. But he just didn't do the simple, basic thing that he should have done. So I think that Royce, could be a force if he gets his mind in the right space for how to do politics, and basically stops trying to like do the things that he thinks will work, and he does the things that show that they work. Just you have to take over the system. So yeah, that's my feeling on Royce, is that he's got a great message. He's charismatic. You really, like, anyone that gets around him, the man is a genius. Like, he's so smart. He understands so many things, but he's also kind of hard-headed that he's not willing to play the game. But I'm telling you, man, I've been involved in Republican politics since 2006, and I've seen people come in that didn't want to play the game, and every single one of them lost, because there is a game to play.
Yeah, and I can understand that. remember when Kimberly Klacik was talking about that in the Spaces, because there is, you know, especially I see it here in Baltimore City. You know what I mean? Just local politics. Like I know people. You know what I mean? And they say the same thing. You know, not go along to get along, so to speak, but you know, there's a way of doing things. You know what I mean? And there's a way to, you know, you can skirt it and still get your message across and still win, but you gotta kind of in some way, shape, form, or fashion, you know, pander, I guess you would say. You know what I mean? Or play, you know, like you said, play that game as far as like getting funding or getting donors and all that other stuff. You know what I mean? Unless you are like a, you know, a Trump who has that star power and that has that you know, political capital without the donors. You know what I mean? Which you know they're few and far between. My first time even hearing about Royce White was on HJ's channel the other day. I never heard of him before, and I like him, right? You know, because it got me. Like,
he's intense, bro. He's intense.
He is very much so, but you know, but at the same time, he's passionate, and I like that. You know what I mean? And like you said, you could tell that he knows what the hell he's talking about. I mean, it was flowing. You know what I mean? You could tell he knows his stuff. He knows what he's talking about. It's not to say that you know once you get into the office that you got to keep playing that game. Once you get in the office, you can implement your agenda. We see the Democrats do it all the time. They play the game during election season. Once they get in the office, then they implement their agenda and they do what they really, you know, was set to do. You know what I mean? You know, so you know it's like you said, it's I mean it's a house of cards. It's politics. You know what I mean? You gotta lie to get ahead.
So I'll push back on just one thing that you said. It's not that you actually have to be insincere. It's not that you have to pander either. It just means that there's actually a system that exists that has been established. And so, you know, the idea that you can create a new system is pretty absurd. Instead, you have to play within the system that's been created. So let me give you an example.
Oh, kind of like you and what you and Sonny was talking about. Yeah, go ahead. I remember you and Sonny having this conversation.
So like one of the things to play the game that you have to do is like you actually have to go and knock on doors, get voter lists, and turn out people to vote in a smart way. What some people do is they're like, oh, I don't need to do that. I'll just go and do a bunch of interviews and maybe I'll put up a billboard. And it's like, that's literally not the way that it works, man. Like you have to have most of the time somewhere between 10 and 12 voter contacts to actually get someone new to vote for you. 10 to 12 voter contacts. And so that's what I mean by playing the game. Is like it sometimes feel like that type of stuff is like, oh, who cares about that? Or speaking to delegates, if you're going to try and win the endorsement from a party, raising money and actually putting it into doing stupid things like fundraising emails, which people hate, or doing actual mailers where you're like getting a voter universe and then creating a bunch of postcards and people are like, well, this is stupid. It's a waste of money. I'd rather go and do an interview. But again, it's about those voter contacts. That's what I mean by playing the game.
Gotcha.
Like,
I see what you're saying now.
Whatever your message is, like you should be real and authentic. But that's what I'm saying. Like if Royce went out there and he still was able to do all of the things you do to actually win a race and go and talk to the people, he would have a much better chance of turning out brand new voters that feel like apathetic to the system, and then being able to actually court the Republicans that will vote for him in general. And if he can do that, then he's gonna win, right? If you can get every Republican to vote for you, and then you can gain some new voters or flip some old voters, you're going to be cool. But sometimes what happens is people are like, you know, the old voters, the Republicans, they all suck. They're neocons. They're terrible. I don't need them. It's like, okay, well, then you're not going to win. So you don't have to, pander to them, but you just have to understand that there's going to be things that you agree with. That's why you're actually a Republican. So find those common things and maybe just tone down attacking them on those other things. Now, once you get in the office, then you can attack everyone, I guess, because, you know, until you're up for re-election. And if you're only a one and done, then at least you can go out there and say, I signed all this legislation, I got these bills passed, and that's what it is. But yeah, man, that's what I mean is like, you don't have to change your message. Just you have to understand when you're talking to certain people, you have to be able to still build relationships because that's the game of politics. It's about winning hearts and minds.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Now I get what you're saying. Yeah, and I remember Dan Bongino was talking about that when he ran for office here, and I remember Kim was talking about that when she ran for office here. And I knew people who I knew for a fact that they were Republican. They were Democrats, lifelong Democrats, and they were all willing to go vote for Kim, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And her and the person she ran against was Kwesi Mfume, who I also know. You know what I mean? Great guy. He knows my family. He knows my kids. You know, we went to the same church, and he recognized the fact that he almost lost to her. He just won strictly solely off of his name. Him being, I guess he used to be the president of the NAACP or whatever he was. Yeah. The national chapter, and he was also in Congress, you know what I mean, beforehand. But he had that name, he had that star power. But she still almost beat him simply because of what you just said. She knocked on doors. She was out there. She did her little ads and interviews, but she was out there in them streets. You know, I seen her around, knocking and changing people's minds and all that other stuff. Dan Bongino said the same thing. He said that he was out there knocking on doors and he was changing people's minds. They were loving what he was talking about. Then when he said he was running as a Republican, they had some hesitancy, but he won that day, and he lost in I think he said he lost in like a recount or something like a couple days later. You know what I mean? But it does work. Like I said, he's passionate. Emmanuel said he got what Emmanuel said? Emmanuel said he got anxiety. He got an anxiety issue. He said he can't speak to people on that level. He said that's why he doesn't play basketball anymore. But the thing is that, I think like from what I can hear, he knows his stuff. And like you said, if he can put his knowledge with somebody else's expertise on how to navigate the, the election process or the campaign process, he should be a shoo-in out there. You know what I mean? So we'll see how it goes. I like him. I'm gonna start listening to him more. Like I said, I didn't even know who he was until I listened to HJ's podcast, or the Griff Report. And I was like, I like this dude. I like where his head is. You know what I mean? Definitely.
So the first time I ever heard about him is that he led a protest march that started at the Federal Reserve or went to the Federal Reserve during the Summer of Love, right? Oh, wow. And so people are like, what is he doing? Like he's like doing a BLM protest, but he's going to the Federal Reserve, and then he was like, end the Fed, right? And I was like, yo, this dude, okay, I see what he's doing. And that's what's so interesting about Royce, man. Like, I also know, just like a side story. I did a podcast for a while with a guy that's a police officer. And he told me that he heard stories that department had an interaction with Royce one time. And Royce decided, I'm not getting arrested. This is like when he was like right out of high school or something, because he grew up in Minnesota, right? And he like straight up fought like 5 or 6 cops, and he put a lick on these boys. But they're finally able to get him down. But he just told me that story, and I'm like, yeah, man, I could see if Royce was just like, you ain't what do you do? Like, if there's a 6'8" dude and he's coming at you with all of his strength and power, and he's an athlete, unless you got like a 6'5" cop that's also just as athletic, it's gonna take a while. But yeah, man, I was like, yeah, I could see that. So, but when it comes to his anxiety stuff, he's actually been able to find some ways to handle that. So that's no longer really an issue on that level that it used to be. Yeah. But yeah, he's found some great ways to take care of it, and he attributes a lot of it to reestablishing his faith in Christ. So that's like a big part of his dynamic, is that through the power of God, all things can be healed. So, he's been able to find a good way forward with that. But yeah, man, Royce, he's an interesting cat, man. And I've had a couple of conversations with him, like I said, and I wish him the best. And if anyone on Team Royce wants to reach out and wants some consulting, I'll help you out. I'm not going to work for you because I don't work for candidates. I refuse to, unless you're like my down homie that I actually can trust. I ain't interested in working for a campaign that's no longer in my future. I'll consult. One day maybe I'll run, but that's where I'm at. So holla at your boy.
There we go. So your boy Biden, Joseph Raheem Biden, Joe Nicholslick. They found they actually found evidence that he got 10%. That he got 10% of his cut from a family payout from a Chinese company. How about that? So apparently, I forgot the way they funneled the money, but I think it was $400,000 from his brother Jim.
Yep.
His brother Jim got $400,000 out of whatever happened, and then his brother Jim cut him a check for $40,000.
Yep.
And said loan repayment.
Yep.
But they traced the money all the way back to China from a Chinese a deal that some shell company that they created made. So, bro, I told people them 82,000 emails that whatever Department of Records, whatever it is that they had to release.
Yeah.
We about to get another Twitter files off of this.
Yeah, listen, everyone's known that Joe Biden is one of the most corrupt politicians in American history, just solely based off of the fact of how long he's been in. And listen, I know plenty of elected officials. Like, you know, one of my closest homies is actually Tom Emmer's chief of staff, and I personally know Tom. He's a really nice dude. But listen, when you're in office for a super long time, like, it's going to be difficult to start to like delineate between where the lines are. I think that most of these people go into office with the greatest of intentions. Some of them are just power hungry and they just want power for the sake of power. But as long as Joe Biden's been in office, man, and then you start to add these little pieces together, the question really is, this is my tinfoil kufi. Does the deep state still find value in Joe Biden? As long as they find value, they will never let him be impeached. It's just not possible.
Right.
If they no longer find value in him and they feel that there's a better alternative or route, that's when they'll throw him to the wolves. So it's possible that with this information getting out there, that they've maybe decided to throw him to the wolves. Man.
That's what I was thinking when I said that 28,000 emails. I said, man. I said he must no longer serve a purpose, right?
Yeah.
You know, because he still wants to run. He still wants to run for re-election. They like, no, Joe, we want you to bow out. We need you to bow out gracefully. You know, say you got some issues, some Alzheimer's or whatever you got. You know what I mean? Just say you got something, bro. You know, and he don't want to do it. So they okay. Well, I guess we got to do this shit the hard way, huh? You know what I mean? And that's what's happening right now. They doing this shit the hard way, and I think they about to throw him under the bus with these 28,000 emails. But on the other hand, all the shit that we found out in the Twitter files and nothing happened. It's almost like, you know, he might be immune to it. And the only thing I can see, right, worst case scenario, that nothing happens, nothing comes from this, you know, legally with the 28,000 emails. I'm just hoping people are smart enough to see, you know, okay, yeah, he's corrupt. He was doing this, you know, and maybe he's not the best, you know, fit for us as a president. I think people starting to see it now just because it's you know, going to the grocery store is double. Going to the gas station is double. You know what I mean? I think they starting to see that now, especially Chicago. Chicago's starting to see it because now they out there having, you know, committee meetings like, yo, what the fuck we supposed to do with all of these immigrants? They taking up all the resources that y'all supposed to be giving us. Now we ass out, and they, you know, you giving all the resources to them. You know, but at the same time, it looked like they wanna throw him under the bus now and get him out of there and get some fresh blood in there. But who's the fresh blood? Who would they put in there? Because I don't think anybody can beat Donnie T if they don't get Donnie T out of the paint, and we're gonna talk about that in a second. But who, like Gavin Newsom? You think Gavin Newsom would be their pick? And we know it ain't RFK.
Yeah, so I think that if the deep state finally does decide that Joe Biden is no longer of use, then they're just going to basically stop blocking and obscuring things, and then it will just be laid out in front, and you won't be able to make a reasonable argument why he should stay in office. And at that point, yeah, I mean, Newsom, I think all the stuff that he's doing where he's been traveling around and, you know, going to China, going to Israel, all this different stuff, is in case that does happen. Now in Minnesota, we had Dean Phillips. He officially announced he votes like 100% along Democrat Party lines, right, like straight up. and he's announced his presidency. Chances of him winning are like 0%, maybe 0.1% or something like that. But yeah, that's what I think would be most likely. But again, it just depends, man. Like you said, we're going to talk about the Trump stuff, but if they can't get Trump out the way, then yeah, I feel like they're going to have to. But if they can get Trump hung up, I still think that they're gonna push Joe, man. Like they're that delusional. They're gonna run a full court press, and they're gonna be like, yeah, Joe might have had this stuff, but look at Trump. He's been indicted, this, and he's been convicted of all of these things. So,
see, that's the thing I'm worried about, right? So let's get into the Trump stuff. So you said Minnesota and Colorado are getting ready to vote on saying whether Trump will be on their ballot or not.
Yeah. So Minnesota Supreme Court today heard oral arguments in this case that's been brought forth saying that the 14th Amendment clause bars people from seeking higher office for insurrection. But the thing is that they're kind of hanging on that even if you're not, haven't been found guilty of insurrection, if you participated in actions that other people were convicted of insurrection. So they're trying to just use this weird legal theory. So that's in Minnesota. That started today. Colorado has already had a handful of days of trial in which, again, they're using the same idea. And they're a little bit slick because they found Republicans on paper to actually go and file the lawsuit. So it's not like this crazy leftists that are filing the lawsuit. It's like Republicans that just want accountability in government or whatever. So both of these cases are going to, in my opinion, really set the precedent. Hopefully, if both of the states rule that Trump can be removed from the ballot, that the Supreme Court jumps on it right away. I don't think the Supreme Court is going to necessarily set that precedent because if it gets to that point, and maybe I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, if it gets to that point, then basically every state is just going to continue to use that same justification, and then Trump's going to be on like 32 state ballots, and then the other 28 he's not going to be on or whatever. It'd be terrible. Or sorry, my math is terrible. The other 18 he wouldn't be on or whatever. But yeah, I think that'd be a terrible precedent to set. So I still think that there's a chance that in both of Colorado and Minnesota that the Supreme Court doesn't actually remove him based off of the way that the arguments are being laid out right now. But you never know, man. Like I said, this deep state, they don't play.
Yeah, Heather Hartnett said RFK better get low. Did you hear? Or did you see he had 2 attacks, one at a rally and one at his home? Golly mighty, what?
Yeah, I didn't. I saw the rally one because like Secret Service is basically they've denied him coverage because they're saying that he's not polling high enough and that he's not a real contender, which is super weird.
How is he not polling? Yeah. See, that's some shady math to me.
Yeah, no, that's some super shady math.
That's shady math right there, bro. He's not polling high enough. He was polling so high that they had to deny him Secret Service.
I know, right? Like, it makes no sense. I mean, listen, RFK being a strong third-party candidate, I think a lot of people are sleeping on that. You got to remember back when Ross Perot getting what he got. To be honest, it helped Bill Clinton win. Right? Yeah. Like Ross Perot helped put Bill Clinton into office. And, people go back and forth. You can read one news source and polling data that says that RFK is pulling from Trump. And then people are saying he's pulling from Biden. And I think a lot of it's just like, what do you think? It's hard, right? Like a lot of the polling metrics aren't super effective because people are allowed to be anonymous, and I think we're kind of turning ourselves into like a troll society for being able to be online and be anonymous. But it's hard to say. Like it's honestly hard to say what would RFK actually pull from. But yeah, man, when it comes to Trump, potentially being off of the ballot in a handful of these states, That's bad news, man. I see a lot of, even if it's only like, let's say 1 million Americans that are like, this is bullshit. We have a fake country, and they decide that they're going to go out there and no longer just march around peacefully. Then, like, I don't know how our country comes back from that, to be honest. So I just hope it doesn't get to that point, man. I hope Supreme Court can step in and if it doesn't go good in these 2 states and right that ship. But it's wild, man. Wild times.
Yeah,
man.
It is wild times because they're going to try to certify. And I'm not. Emmanuel says he's a big. I know he's a big fan of RFK. He said he still has his vote, and I didn't know. Is Hillary really trying to throw her hat in the race again? Is that true?
So I mean, listen. If Biden gets taken out, right? If Biden ends up being impeached, why not, right? Like, if you're Hillary, why wouldn't you? I mean, that's probably why she's at least stayed kind of in the periphery, right? Because she had that stupid reality TV show or something like that was on Amazon, I think, or it was like a mini series or something like that. And she's still out there, running her mouth and, flapping her gums when no one is listening to her. So I could see that happen if Joe gets taken down, because no one wants, Kamala. Like, that's just not happening.
No. She was a diversity
her
hire.
unfavorability is like the highest of any like vice president ever.
She checked the box. That's all she was there for. You know what I mean? Her and her Botox face and fucking 80-year-old neck. You know what I mean? But, like, everybody noticed that her face is all skin tight and her neck looked like a goddamn monitor lizard. Oh my goodness gracious.
That's how you can always tell, though. It's the neck and the hands.
Yeah.
Because, like, the Botox will, like, tighten it up or whatever. But then you look at the hands, you're like, yo, your hands look like you're the crypt keeper.
Right, exactly. Like, she make naan bread for a living. That's not an Indian joke, guys. It's just the first thing that came to my head. Anyway. But, yeah, so back to Trump, though. So you got Colorado and Minnesota trying to keep him off the ballot.
Yep.
Then you got... I know that's not the only 2 states that were talking about it.
Well, those are only 2 states that have actually are having courts look at it. So Minnesota, it's the Supreme Court, and then in Colorado, it's a state court. I can't remember. I don't think it's the Supreme Court in Colorado. I think it's a lower court, like a district court or something like that. But Minnesota is the Supreme Court. So we'll see, man. Like I said, if one state, if it falls, and here's the thing in Minnesota. The governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, came out and basically said that he agrees with the argument being put forth. So it's like he's putting his thumb on the scale big time, signaling as governor, I think that Trump, if it's reasonable to say that he was involved in insurrection, then yeah, he shouldn't be on the ballot. So, and the Secretary of State of Minnesota, Steve Simon, who's again a Democrat, he said, I'm going to go by what the court says. So they're kind of paving this way that if he falls in one state, I'm telling you, this is my analysis. Other Democrat Secretary of States will say, oh, because Minnesota ruled this way, then I'm going to take the step of removing Trump from the ballot. So I think that Minnesota and Colorado are both test case where they're kind of putting out a kite and seeing if we go at it this angle, and if both of them fail, then Trump will be on every ballot and we're kind of done with that. But if he falls in just one of those, I think a bunch of other states are going to do that. And then, like I said, the Supreme Court's going to come in. Now, I will say there's a little caveat. When it comes to the Supreme Court, because of the 10th Amendment, right? In a certain sense, states do have the right to determine certain aspects of their elections, right? That's why some states have like a form of ranked choice voting. And I know that we're talking about a federal office versus a state office, but I do believe that there is an argument that could be made by originalists that states should be able to set and determine their own elections. But because it would be a judge or judges doing it versus a legislature, that's where I think the Supreme Court might side and say, nope, like the legislature didn't pass something removing Trump from the ballot. And that's what my hope. But there is a possibility if they say, listen, like states get to choose what they want to do. And so, too bad, too sad. States get to set this because, again, if it's not explicitly laid out in the Constitution, if you're an originalist, you're going to say the states have that right. They reserve that right. So that's the only thing is that I'm a little bit, if it falls at the state level, either Colorado or Minnesota, and then a bunch of other Democrat Secretary of State start removing Trump from the ballot based off of those decisions, and then the Supreme Court gets a crack at it, I could see that I could see an argument where it's like 5-4, and that a couple of the conservatives flip over with the liberals, and then at that point we're gonna have a full-blown civil war, bro. I'm just gonna call it right now. Like, AK been told you we would have a full-scale civil war in this country for sure.
100%.
And not for Trump, right? But just of how corrupt the entire system is. And that's what would happen, in my opinion.
And if push come to shove, we just have a bunch of asshole actors pleading to the Electoral College to change their minds. It worked so well the first time.
You ain't wrong, man.
Oh my gosh, yo. This shit is gonna be 2024 is gonna be for the fucking record books. I'm telling you, holy smokes. History is gonna look back on 2024 and go, this is the most craziest fucking year ever in American history, I think.
You want to know what's crazy though? Here's this might sound absurd based off of everything that we've just said. 2024 could also just turn out to just be another year, right? Like everything in Israel, in Palestine could just kind of stay where it's at. Nothing really escalates any further. And Trump could still be on the ballot and then, win his second crack at it. And we could be like, ooh, that was a close one. Right? So it could be either way, man. And that's probably the weirdest part is that as crazy as things have happened, a lot of times it feels like something even crazier is about to happen, and then nothing happens. It's like, oh, okay. It's like, oh, we're building up, and then it's like, oh, okay. Like, think about Russia and Ukraine. Now, of course, something could happen tomorrow. But do you remember when Russia was threatening to use tactical nukes on the battlefield in Ukraine? Yeah. And now it seems as though Russia has basically won, right?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
They've got the thing that they wanted. They've got, they've secured their area that gives them the seaport. And it just seems like they've done that. But there was a point at which we thought that Russia-Ukraine was going to kick off World War III. And then, Taiwan and China was like, remember when they encircled all of Taiwan and they were firing rockets across? And everyone's like, yo, and then we had congressmen that flew to Taiwan and were like, bro, what if they hit the plane and it kills 20
Nancy Pelosi,
yeah. But again, it's like, and then it's like, okay, nothing happened. Right. So I always say that there is that possibility, but there also is the possibility that this could be the time that something happens. So it's just like, like you said, man, you gotta get low, right?
Yep.
Stay strapped.
Don't miss, goddammit.
Just be prepared. Man.
Just be prepared for that Red Dawn scenario, guys. The North Koreans or the Chinese could be fucking hang gliding into America. Who fucking knows? Holy smokes.
Hey, man, listen, with you, Cannon, I hope they come to your area because, you'll take you and your family, you'll take them all out, man. You'll be doing all the heavy lifting, bro.
I hope so, goddammit. Me and my homeboy, we always make a joke that me and him will be back to back just fighting everybody coming, and our wives is in the back just praying on their hands and just praying. They ain't pick up not near fucking gun to help their husbands defend the homeland. They just back there praying. Like, look, y'all better spray and pray, goddammit. Y'all better spray and pray. You better do that prayer that Samuel Jackson did in Pulp Fiction.
Oh yeah, man.
When I lay my vengeance down upon thee, you know my name is the Lord. Y'all better do that. Or y'all helping us, gosh dang it. Don't be back here. We out here doing all the heavy lifting. Like I said, I don't want to find out if my wife can keep the steering wheel straight while I'm shooting out the window. I'm not ready for that yet.
Yeah. Now me either, bro. Me either.
Emmanuel gonna say Cannon versus Rooftop Koreans round 1 fight.
We talking about Cannon is the new Rooftop Korean. We'll be calling them Rooftop Cannons.
There you go, gosh dang it. I got a rooftop to fight from, shit. But I don't know if I want to fight from it. Montoya says it's going to always be a possibility as long as propaganda is being regurgitated. That is a fact, too. That is
true.
like the propaganda, man, is next level right now. You know what I mean? Wait till they start. Like I said, I put on the show the other, like, was it like last Thursday or last Monday? So like a few months ago, me and Jay had covered this video game called Unrecorded. It's from the Unreal Engine, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And the game looks so fucking real. And then if you take something like the Unreal Engine and you fabricate some shit like Unrecorded, and then you go to thispersondoesn'texist.com and you just pick AI faces to say these were the victims of this tragedy, you know what I mean? That could spark some galvanize the country to go into a war. You know what I mean? Like the propaganda is crazy, just like what Ukraine did earlier this year with that fucking video they put out. Like this is what would happen if Paris was attacked.
Yeah, and they also had like the ghosts of Kiev, and then they Kiev, or however you say that. And then remember when they had like the last stand? It was like there was like a Russian destroyer that was off the shore of this island, and they played this audio where they're like, "This is our last stand," and then they all like valiantly died. Yeah, no, man, the propaganda is out of control. Coming out of Israel and Palestine conflict, it's like everything that comes out, you have to wait like 4 or 5 days, and then once you kind of gather everything. But at that point, everyone's been saying so many things that it's like set in stone. But like you said, when it comes to like the manipulation part, that's the crazy thing, because it's going to be so difficult. I think right now you can still kind of tell, right? Like enough people do analysis and they're like, yeah, that's bullshit. But there will be a point very soon, maybe it's a year, maybe it's 3 years, that it will be almost impossible to distinguish between what is artificial intelligence created and then what is actually real. Like it's going to be super, super difficult. And yeah, man, it's so wild. Like you won't even be able to believe at certain points what people actually physically see, because the person that's reporting saying I physically saw this could be AI.
Yeah. And then
right?
you got and then you see some of these videos where they it appears to be in a hospital, and they like got these cameras in these babies' faces, and it's just like it's hard to watch. But they want that. They want people to get emotionally involved in this and go, no, we need to go over there and do something right now. It's like women and children, man. Women and children. They that's what tug on the heartstrings. You know what I mean? Like it's tough. Like I'm scrolling through like some of this shit I can't show on YouTube. Like I'm scrolling.
Oh, of course not. No.
I'm scrolling through Twitter right now, looking at some of this shit. It's crazy. Everything I saw this typed in Gaza. And everything you see is just kids. It's crazy and it's sad. But that's what they use. They use that as propaganda to get people, all worked up, and let's go get some get back for these children. You know what I mean? So we'll see how it goes, man. I think it's gonna be an interesting last quarter, I guess you would call it. As we head into 2024, we're gonna see what the fuck go down.
Yeah, no, listen, I think when it comes down to understanding fifth generational warfare, informational warfare, that's what it seems to be is becoming the dominant way of winning support. But I still don't necessarily think that it translates as well. I would say that on the PR battlefront, definitely Hamas is winning. Mm-hmm. You can say, well, it's not Hamas. It's just people that are pro-Palestine. Again, if you're part of Hamas and you understand that you are getting further and further backed into a corner, if the people of Gaza just completely fled the area, leaving only Hamas there, they would be wiped out within a week, easily, just by Israel. Yeah. And so they have to have the ability to get the hearts or minds of people to actually continue to stay there and believe that this unjust thing is happening for just the purpose of being evil. That's their only play. I don't necessarily know if it's going to work, because it's one thing to say that you care about the people that are in Gaza from the United States. It's another thing to actually go and do something to stop that from happening. And I don't see that happening. So that's why I say, like, on a certain level, they're winning the information PR, but it's not translating to action to actually stop Israel or stop the United States from supporting Israel. That hasn't happened. And because we're still far enough away from the 2024 election, I don't think it's going to matter, because by the time we get to 2024, I don't think that Israel is probably even going to be still doing their main mission. It will be like, oh, we've wiped out and killed this many terrorists, and there's going to be like an ungodly number of civilian casualties. And then it will be like, okay, well, now that part's over. So even if we were mad here in the West, they've already done their thing. So it will no longer be an issue. So if we were like 3 months away from an election, then it might have worked. The propaganda might have actually caused American politicians to be like, yep, hands off, we're done helping Israel because we're going to get killed in this election. But it's so far away that it's not going to matter, I'm telling you right now, most likely, into actually weighing on the 2024 election.
Red said we need to send Zoolander over there to give them blue steel in a school for kids who can't read good.
That's brutal, bro.
But man, anyway, y'all, appreciate you coming on, y'all. I really do. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, man. So y'all can go follow me over on that Chinese spyware app called TikTok. I've got like 117,000 followers. I put a bunch of content there, but I also put all of that same content on both my Facebook and Instagram. So if you're on Facebook or Instagram, you can follow me there at real AK Kamara. Over on TikTok, it's just at AK Kamara. And then I do have a YouTube page that I only upload shorts of like these stupid, funny, humorous things. Like I'll see like these clips on CapCut that are like cutouts of like a line from a movie. And then I read news stories all the time, right? So most of the content I make, I'm actually giving my opinion on a news story. So I'll take a screenshot of that news story and then I'll put like the overshadow thing or whatever. And I think that shit's hilarious. So go and follow that if you think that's funny. That's what I put on YouTube. Maybe one day I'll put it on long form content. And then you can follow me on X over on Elon's app at Real AK Kamara, where again, every once in a while I'll upload some of my videos from TikTok. Sometimes I really don't because people already have had like 15 takes and it's like I'm way too late to the take party. So I just might put something funny on there. But I appreciate any follows, any love, any support. And to you, Cannon, I appreciate you having me on your show, man. Like I said, Hotep Nation, the realest group of people that I have interacted with by far. And like I said, I've been involved in politics since 2006. Genuine people, and I appreciate you having me on, man.
Yeah, we appreciate you, bro. Give it up one time.
I'll come back anytime, man. You let me know, bro. I'll come back, man.
Not a problem, yo. I appreciate you. Give it up one time. AK Kamara. Anyway, guys, that's all I got for you tonight. If you're new, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification icon. It'll let you know when we got new content coming out. We got 60 watching over on Rumble, and we got 45 over on YouTube. Anyway, until next time, guys, it's CannonHotep saying be safe, stay strapped, don't miss. Maybe we do, I think I'm probably stream Spider-Man sometime this weekend, but I'll let you guys know. Anyway, I'll let you guys.
So relax and take notes. Niggas need to wake up. Niggas need to relax and take notes. Niggas need to wake up. Niggas need to relax and take notes.